Aloha, good evening. Welcome to the public hearing. This is, at this time, I'd like to call this hearing to order. This is a public hearing on PUC docket number 2025-0220, Hawaii Water's application for approval of a general rate increase. Can't hear? Okay, can we resolve that? I'll start over. Can you hear me okay now? All right. This is a public hearing. This is a public hearing on PUC docket number 2025-0220, Hawaii Water's application for approval of a general rate increase for its Kapalua Water and Wastewater Division and certain tariff changes. My name is John Itamura. I'm the chair. Just came aboard. I'm in my second week, but in case you're not aware, I have been with the Consumer Advocate approximately just under 17 years. A little over 7 years ago, I left. Still can't hear me. All right. There. I don't know if it's how I'm speaking into this. Can you hear me better if I really hold this up here? Test, 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 1, 2, test, 1, 2. You have another mic? I can try a different mic. Test, 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 1, 2, test, test. Test, 1, 2, 2, 2, test, 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 1, 2, test. Test, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Test, 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 test. Test, 1, 2. Test, 1, 2. Test, test. Still pretty bad back there. I apologize for this technical difficulty. People online. I'll try to do both. Okay. Good idea. All right, let's start again. Again, welcome. This is a public hearing on PUC docket number 2025-0220, Hawaii Water's application for approval of a general rate increase for its Kapalua Water and Wastewater Division and certain tariff changes. My name is John Itomura, Chair, and I am accompanied by Commissioner Naomi Kuai and Colin Yost. We are also joined by the Consumer Advocate, Michael Angelo, from the Division of Consumer Advocacy. Let me come and speak to each one of you. No. Yeah. Okay. All right, we're gonna take a short recess at this time to see if we can resolve our technical difficulties. All right, we are back from our recess. Hopefully, the technical difficulties are a little better. I hear it popping, but again, if it's okay, I think we ended at the introduction of Michael Angelo, the consumer advocate from the Division of Consumer Advocacy, State of Hawaii. So today's hearing is being recorded and will be transcribed by a court reporter at a later time. If you are intending to testify, make sure that you signed in at the table as you entered. State law requires that the commission hold a public hearing whenever a public utility proposes a rate increase. The commission published a notice of today's public hearing in the Maui News, the Honolulu Advertiser on January 15th and 22nd and 29th, as well as in the Honolulu Star Advertiser on February 1st. The commission also filed public hearing notice in its publicly accessible database called the CDMS on January 14, 2026. Hawaii Water's requests are described in more detail in the company's application filed on November 12, 2025, and is included in the hearing notice. In general, Hawaii Water is requesting commission approval of the following. Revenue increase, a total revenue increase of 2,220,655, or an approximate 59% increase over revenue at current effective rates. Tariff changes, revisions to its rate schedules, rules, and approval of a power cost charge pass-through. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act tariff surcredit, and a watershed purchase rider. The watershed purchase rider would allow Hawaii Water to directly pass on to customers via a separate line item on customer bills charges for water that Hawaii Water purchases from the Maui Land and Pineapple watershed, and other relief as may be just and reasonable under circumstances. The purpose of this hearing tonight is that the commission will be taking public testimony. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding. The PUC, as a decision maker, cannot answer questions about this application. However, representatives from the Hawaii Water and the Division of Consumer Advocacy will be available if you have questions for them following the conclusion of the hearing. Regarding the scope of this hearing, it's specifically limited to the issues which I have set forth at the outset of the hearing and are included in Hawaii Water's application. I want to clarify that the Commission has received public comments regarding the regulation of Maui Land and Pineapple as a public utility. That question was the subject of a previous and separate proceeding, docket number 2025-0368, and is outside the scope of this proceeding and tonight's hearing. Tonight's hearing concerns only Hawaii Water rate application, including whether the proposed watershed purchase rider is just and reasonable. Here are the ground rules for testifying. Hawaii Water will be given 8 minutes to discuss their application, followed by the consumer advocate, who will also be given 8 minutes to explain its role in the process. All other testifiers will have 3 minutes to present testimony at this hearing. The testifiers cannot give any of their time to another testifier. You may also submit comments in writing to the commission by email or by regular mail. Please reference this docket 2025-0220. You can email comments to the puc@hawaii.gov or mail comments to the Public Utilities Commission, 465 South King Street, room 103, Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. You can also see our staff to get this information, contact information. As a reminder, when you testify this evening, please identify yourself, your first and last name, state whether you're testifying on behalf of an organization or in your individual capacity, and state whether you support or oppose Hawaii Water's requests. At this time, we'll begin with testimony from Hawaii Water, followed by the Division of Consumer Advocacy, and then we will be calling up members from the public who will be testifying tonight. So, Hawaii Water.
Test, test. All right. Can you hear me from the 3-point line? Okay. Aloha and good evening. I'm Jeff Folks, the General Manager of Hawaii Water Service. In November of last year, Hawaii Water filed an application with the Hawaii Public Utilities Commission to recover costs for maintaining and upgrading the Kapalua water and wastewater systems, including capital investment needed to properly operate the systems and serve customers. At Hawaii Water, we are committed to providing our customers safe, clean, and reliable utility services. This requirement commits us to, in part, upgrade and maintain our infrastructure and treatment systems to keep tap water safe and reliable, and a commitment to operating the water utility systems responsibly. Sorry, it's like it's difficult. The Kapalua system is one system within Hawaii Water, which also provides high quality water to thousands of Hawaii residents and visitors on Oahu, Maui, Kauai, and Hawaii Island. Our services include water distribution, construction and maintenance, meter reading, billing, water quality testing, treatment, wastewater treatment, customer education, specifically on programs on conservation. So Hawaii Water received approval to purchase the Kapalua water and Kapalua water waste systems in 2021. That acquisition spelled out rates that in effect that would be maintained for a specific period. Those rates were set in a commission order over 16 years ago in 2009 and no longer cover the cost to operate the Kapalua system. We know there's never a good time for a rate change, and we have made significant efforts to keep those costs down in our Kapalua service area. However, capital investments made in the system have been necessary to maintain reliable service and stay in compliance with the Department of Health. Further, costs to run the utility and purchase water have continued to increase. Over recent years, we have completed and planned to complete several capital investment projects, so our customers continue to receive safe, reliable water and wastewater service, including the rehabilitation of critical potable water storage reservoirs, valve replacements, improvements to fire protection systems, and the significant investments in the sewer pump stations, especially that serving the D.L. Fleming State Beach Park. All told, we will have invested nearly $33 million in the Kapalua system directly since the acquisition and must now seek to recover those costs. We will be updating rates for water, both potable and irrigation, and wastewater. The rate structure will be a little different as we try to increase transparency on the monthly bill. We have proposed to call out purchase water costs, both of which charge to customers on a dollar-for-dollar basis with no markup, along with a conservation charge as a separate line item on the bill so our customers can more easily see the cost drivers on their bill. Because this is the first time that the watershed costs will be passed on to customers on a dollar-for-dollar basis, we are updating rates from 2029. The monthly bill impact will be higher. We anticipate a monthly residential bill using 15,000 gallons of water on a monthly basis to be approximately $134.33 without irrigation. We we anticipate a monthly sewer bill to be approximately $108.72. We have also proposed a credit back to customers totaling approximately $271,000 related to the reduction of federal income tax resulting from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. You may have also recently heard in the news items related to Maui Land and Pineapple, TY management, or even the county's opinions on the Honokahau diversion and ditch system. Our companies does not take a position on these matters, and we have remained independent. We are focused on providing safe, reliable utility services to our customers and only asking for the recovery of costs incurred to purchase water. The rates we pay for water are not set by us, but must be paid in order to provide water utility services. The HPUC may approve our request, modify the amount we can recover, or deny our request. Details on how to review the copy of the application can be found in the notice we sent out for this meeting. I will close with our commitment. We are dedicated to operating as efficiently as possible while fulfilling our responsibility to provide reliable water and wastewater service and meet all water quality and environmental regulations in order to keep rates affordable for our customers. Thank you very much.
Give it, folks. At this time, may I call up the consumer advocate?
Good evening, Chair Itamura, Commissioner Kawai, Commissioner Yost, and members of the community. Thank you for taking your time to be here to speak with us tonight. My name is Michael Angelo, and I am the Executive Director of the Division of Consumer Advocacy. I'm going to hold this back. I am the Executive Director of the Division of Consumer Advocacy in the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, also known as the Consumer Advocate. No? Okay. I'll try again. Sorry about that. My name is Michael Angelo, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Division of Consumer Advocacy in the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. We're also known as the Consumer Advocate. The Consumer Advocate represents the interests of consumers in regulated public utility and transportation matters before the Public Utilities Commission. This is very distracting, so I apologize. We represent our role in advocacy is to advocate for the provision of safe and reliable utility services delivered cost effectively, equitably, and aligned with the state's clean energy goals and climate goals. I'm here this evening to listen to the community's comments and concerns regarding Hawaii Water Services application for approval of rate increases and the tariff changes. Jerry Tamura already went through the proposed revenue increase and tariff changes, so I won't go through them again, but I will explain our role in the process. The Consumer Advocate will independently review the reasonableness of Hawaii Water's requested rate changes and increases, revised rate schedules, and the changes to its tariff. As part of our analysis, we will conduct discovery, where we will request data and information related to the utility's requested changes to its revenue and changes to its tariffs. Then, later in this proceeding, we will submit the results of our analysis and recommendations to the Commission for their decision on Hawaii Water's requested relief. Tonight, however, we are here to listen to your concerns and comments regarding the rate increase and certain tariff changes for its Kapalua water and wastewater divisions. Any concerns and comments that you may have are an important part of our evaluation of Hawaii Water's request. We encourage the public to express your opinions to the Commission and our office regarding Hawaii Water's proposal and the impact that the requested relief may have on you if the Commission approves the requested increase. This will assist both the consumer advocate and the Commission in their work. As we move forward, please feel free to contact the Consumer Advocate's Office at any time to share your thoughts, concerns, or questions regarding this or any other utility matter. Thank you for the opportunity to offer these comments to you tonight, and I'll briefly give our contact information, which is also available on the web. Our mail is P.O. Box 541, Honolulu, Hawaii 96809. Our email is dca@dcca.hawaii.gov. And our phone is 844-808-3222. Thank you, and I'll be here after the hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Angelo. At this time, I would like to call upon the public who have signed up to testify tonight. I'll be calling your name, but please identify yourself when you do come up. Again, I'll remind you that you have 3 minutes. We'll have a time card that gives you an idea of how many minutes you have left. But let's respect everyone's opportunity to be able to speak tonight. So I will be asking you to conclude when your 3 minutes is up. Our first testifier is Robert Ehrlich.
Honorable Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Robert Ehrlich. I'm not an attorney nor a paid advocate. I'm a homeowner in Kapalua for the last 35 years. I'm here to ask you to reject Hawaii Water Service request for rate increase for the following reasons. Can't hear me? Is this better? Okay. I'm here to ask you to reject Hawaii's Water Service request for the rate increase for the following reason. Prior to Hawaii Water Service purchase of the distribution rights from Maui Land and Pine, Maui Land and Pine was the distributor and regulated by your Commission on Water Distribution. After Hawaii Water Service purchased the distribution rights, Maui Land and Pine basically became the unregulated entity. Hawaii Water Service maintains that they will pass any increases they incur from Maui Land and Pine to their customers. So this raises a concern to me because Maui Land and Pine now increase their rates to Hawaii Water Service as they see fit without any oversight. In turn, Hawaii Water Service advises in a community meeting this past week that they will not charge its customers any more than they're charged by Maui Land and Pine. There's no incentive for Hawaii Water Service to be performing for the good of the public, as they claim, if they're not able to control costs passed on by Maui Land and Pine. Furthermore, Hawaii Water Service has nothing to lose. This raises further questions. Was the sale of only the water distribution from Maui Land and Pine to Hawaii Water Service merely to avoid regulation? Since Maui Land and Pine owns the source of the water Are they in violation of any laws pertaining to monopolies? Finally, by not granting Hawaii Water Service request for the rate increase could force Hawaii Water Service to require Maui Land and Pine to produce proper justification for any rate changes. I think this probably would invoke Hawaii Chapter 480 regarding monopolies over water service. Therefore, I request the commissioners they not grant Hawaii Water Service the request for their increase. Thank you very much.
You can leave it on the table. Mahalo, Mr. Ehrlich. Our next testifier is Mr. Pietrelli.
My name is Ken Pietrelli. I own at Coconut Grove on Kapalua Bay, and I am testifying both on my own behalf and as a board member of the association. We are customers of Hawaii Water Service for both potable and non-potable water, and I am providing this testimony in opposition to the Hawaii Water Service rate increase application. Hawaii Water Service receives all the potable and non-potable water it supplies its customers throughout the Kapalua from MLP. In November 25, HWS submitted its formal application for a rate increase for both its water and wastewater services. The result will be a substantial cost increase for Hawaii Water Service customers in Kapalua. There are 3 new riders which would be added to the HWS basic water delivery charges to include conservation program, power cost charge, and watershed purchase rider. Of the 3 new riders, the greatest contribution to the proposed rate increase is the watershed purchase rider, approximately 50%, followed by the conservation program and then the power cost charge. Of the 3, only the power cost charge provides specificity to ensure transparency of charges to customers. The conservation program has numerous soft initiatives and in essence is a new non-negotiable overhead cost charged to customers. The conservation program also indirectly impacts the cost allocation from the watershed purchase rider. The way the rate application is worded, if actual water usage by Kapalua customers is less than projected, i.e. impacted by conservation efforts, then the watershed purchase rider would have to increase to generate the revenue expected but not received. Thus, HWS customers are going to be charged for the cost of water conservation efforts, but if we are too successful, our costs will increase under the watershed purchase rider. So the customer is the only one who loses from conservation efforts, and the unregulated MLP is the only one who gains from conservation efforts. Does this make sense from a fiduciary standpoint for the PUC? The only way to prevent this travesty is to place a cap on the monthly rate billed for the watershed purchase rider. The most problematic of the 3 riders is the watershed purchase rider. This rider would allow HWS to directly pass the amount that MLP charges HWS for water onto its customers via a separate line item on the customer's bills. Approximately 50% of HWS's total expected revenues for water services will come from the rider. The watershed costs are like a black box. No one has shared visibility on what makes up the costs to be included in the rider and whether they are appropriate and reasonable. HW requests that the PUC approve this rider so that HWS can increase the amount charged if and when MLP raises its charges to HWS without further PUC approval. In other words, the PUC would give HWS a blank check to pass through any rates that MLP chooses to charge HWS for water. If this watershed purchase rider is approved, HWS customers will bear 100% of the risk of future rate increases by MLP without any regulatory protection. The PUC must reject the watershed purchase rider shortcut sought by HWS and instead require HWS to obtain PUC approval for any rate increase in the future to ensure adequate protection of Kapalua ratepayers. Also, there's a major conflict of interest in terms of HWS making any attempt to manage or mitigate the watershed rider costs. HWS is asking for a 7.46% return on its rate base, which includes all proposed costs to include all the riders. When MLP increases the cost of water via the pass-through on the rider, HWS reaps the benefit of a 7.46% markup on that increased cost for its shareholders at the expense of the rate-paying customers. The PUC has a fiduciary duty to protect rate-paying customers. As currently structured in the rate proposal, it appears to me that MLP and HWS are the only ones benefiting from the rate structure arrangement put before the PUC and not the rate-paying customers. I will end it there. Thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Petrelli. I want to remind testifiers, and I know what it's like. You're providing a lot of great information, but I know because you prepared written testimony to read from, you're spending some of your valuable time reiterating some of the facts already stated. So if you haven't come up yet and you have some time, let's try to focus on what your exact concern is. Go straight to that so that you can really give us a good indication of what specific facts relate to your concerns. Okay, just as a reminder. All right. At this time, I'll call up Mr. Wheeler.
I'm Jerry Wheeler, and I'm here just on my personal behalf. Just to echo what has already been stated, a watershed purchase rider is nothing but a blank check. There's no way that's going to serve the public. I won't go on and repeat things that's already been stated, but I also oppose a blank check being granted to Hawaii Water. Thank
you, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Furumoto.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Chris Furumoto. I'm the controller of Kapalua Golf, but I also live as a resident in Kapalua Village. And I'm against the water rate increase for the conservation rider, as beautifully stated by Mr. Petrelli. And also, I'm against it because of the watershed rider. Just to put in context, if the rate would be $134 for basically 15,000 gallons of water, you'll be paying $8.93 per 1,000 gallon. Currently, in 2024 in October, the rate for brown water was $2.99 per 1,000 gallons. HWS did not get a contract to lock in this rate, unlike the county, which is now paying $2.97. Currently, the rate is that we're getting charged at Kapalua Golf is $4.06. So I think the hesitancy due to the possible rate change, due to that watershed rider pass-through, should be very concerning to you, as that was a 35% increase last year, and given what could happen, who knows where it could go. That is all. Thank you for your time, Commission, and to all the residents and to all the volunteers and to the HWS for their all of the things that they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Furumoto. Mr. Kindred.
Aloha, Chair Itamura and Commissioners. My name is John Kindred. I'm a full-time resident in Kapalua, and I'm testifying on my own behalf. I'm a customer of Hawaii Water Service for both potable and non-potable water. I'm providing testimony tonight in opposition to the Hawaii Water Service rate increase application. I have no objection to HWS earning a fair return of 7.46% on its installed rate base. I also have no objection to HWS seeking approval for a power cost pass-through, given that their provider of electricity is an entity regulated by your commission. However, I am strongly opposed to HWS seeking approval for a so-called watershed purchase rider, which would enable it to pass through water prices from Maui Land and Pineapple, which is not regulated by your commission. In a recent ruling, as Chair Itamura noted at the outset, in PUC docket 2025-0368, your commission declined to regulate MLP as a public utility. HWS declined to take a position on the question in that docket, and yet now they testify in their rate increase application that, quote, the costs associated with MLP watershed sales are not controlled by HWS. HWS simply receives the invoice from MLP and pays it, unquote. If HWS has no control over the price it pays MLP for water, why did they not support PUC regulation of MLP as a public water utility? It seems clear from Mr. Szymanski's testimony that HWS does nothing to determine if MLP's prices are fair to a consumer such as myself. This is not a trivial matter, commissioners. At proposed prices, the MLP purchase rider would represent 80% of my total potable water cost and 43% of my total non-potable water cost. I respectfully submit that approving such a large portion of the public's water prices to be unregulated would not be consistent with the responsibility of the PUC to ensure fair pricing for consumers of public utilities. In conclusion, I respectfully request you to deny the HWS request for the MLP purchase rider. The only reasonable basis to approve such a rider would be if you are also regulating the purveyor of the water upon which the rider is based, which you are not. Mahalo for the opportunity to present this testimony, and mahalo for your service to our state.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kindred. I know it's a really close and gray area, but I remind you to limit any discussion regarding the regulation of Maui Land and Pine and focus on your concerns with Hawaii Water. Next, Mr. Ruggieri.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I don't have as many prepared comments as everybody else. Mine is more one of logic and reason. My name is Tony Ruggieri. I'm a resident in Pineapple Hill, and I've owned a property at Kapalua since 1989. I've seen a lot go on over those years, and I object to the rider for unlimited increases in costs. Maui Land and Pine has over time proven where they stand on, they're a for-profit company, and as such, they have no reason to control their costs. If you approve this rider, what you end up doing is effectively causing everybody who lives at Kapalua, you effectively give them unlimited costs, subject to nothing. Hawaii Water Service cannot, even if they ask for all sorts of details and backup for why costs are being increased, in the end it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because the cost given to them has no regulation on it. So if you give them the right to just randomly pass on those costs, you are effectively giving Maui Land and Pineapple the right to pass on whatever costs at whatever time to the consumers directly. And that is not in the protection that should be offered to us as consumers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gary. All right, next, Mr. Jones.
Good evening. I'm Dan Jones. I'm the president of the board of Pineapple Hill Owners Association. I'm also a resident, and I'm going to echo what John Kindred said. So we oppose both the rider and the rate increases. We don't oppose a minuscule increase, but I'm going to take it in a different tack because I think all these points have been made, and I think everybody in here is opposing this, except for Hawaii Water Service. Hawaii Water Service is owned by California Water Group. They're a publicly held company. They made $1 billion last year. Their earnings per share went from 30 cents in 2024 to over $1 in 2025. They're making profit. I worked for a publicly held company for years. When we made a bad business decision, you know who paid for it? We did, not the customer. In this particular case, they made a decision knowing full well that Maui Land and Pine in 2019 was given a warning by Seaworm that they weren't fixing the ditch system. Yet they purchased it in 2021. And guess what? Now we got to put improvements in. They made a bad business decision. Why should we pay for their error? That's their responsibility. They are a profit company. We are customers. The customer should not pay. That is not the right. They should be with the public in this case. So I just wanted to go on a different tack because it infuriates me that we are asking these people in this room to pay for the errors of other people. That is both Maui Land and Pine and Hawaii Water Service in this case. Make a bad decision, you suffer the consequences. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. At this time, is there anyone else that hasn't had the opportunity to sign up to testify in person but would like to testify? Okay. I think I see two. Again, please clearly state your name first and last, and whether you're here on your own behalf or an organization.
Hi, my name is Roy Sakamoto, born and raised on Maui, and live at Kapalua. This whole discussion revolves around MLP and their misdeeds and so forth. They've gone from a old-time Kama'aina company, really concerned about the people, to where they are today, only concerned about the bottom line. That is not tenable. I mean, that is unbelievable. You've got a whole room full of supporters who are against this rate increase. And there's no way that we have to pay for the MLPs, misdeeds, and so forth, and continue to work on trying to enhance the pockets of MLP. They've gone, as I mentioned, from a company to one driven by the bottom line, and that is not the old what Maui Land and Pineapple was all about. And unfortunately, yes, Hawaii Water Service, you did a pretty crappy job in doing your research. Hate to put it in succinct words, but if you had done your homework and your due diligence, there's no way you would have purchased Kapalua Water Company. Didn't make sense, given the misdeeds of MLP, not taking care of the water source, and now you're looking at giving them a blank check to create whatever income they can, have Hawaii Water Service pass on the cost to all the consumers like us. Totally unfair, and I strongly urge you to turn down this request by Hawaii Water Service for rate increases. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sakimoto. Mr. Sakimoto, could I remind you to check in with staff so we can get your name corrected? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Johnson. I oppose the application. I'm a resident of Kapalua. I think it's clearly the policy of Hawaii that water providers be regulated. And I think as a result of legislative oversight, the commission, we have two water providers, and I think as a result of legislative oversight, the commission just decided it does not have jurisdiction to regulate Maui Land and Pine. So we end users rely on Hawaii Water to oversee the charges and performance of its obligations by Maui Land and Prime. If Maui Land and Prime breaches an obligation it has under a contract or otherwise, or sends an erroneous bill, Hawaii Water has the lawyers and the staff and all the resources to challenge that, and they have the motivation to do that. They can sue, they can withhold payment, they can go to court, sue for breach of contract, they can negotiate with Maui Land and Prime. If you allow them to simply pass on Maui Land and Pine's charges to the end users, we don't have that expertise. We don't have any ability we have no expertise. We're not a party to any contract with Maui Land and Prime. We can't sue them. We simply have to pay the bill. And Hawaii Water loses the incentive to oversee Maui Land and Prime because it's getting paid all of its charges by the end users. So we don't have your oversight over Maui Land and Prime. The only remaining oversight we've got is provided by Hawaii Water. You allow the rider, you diminish that, you take that away. And I would ask, and I think that would not be just and reasonable. So don't allow this blind pass through. And I'll just add the pass throughs in my experience are of charges that are normally not in dispute. They're fuel, for example, charges determined in a competitive market, or electricity charges determined in a regulated market. We don't have that here. We have charges by Maui Land and Pine, which we have no oversight over. Only Hawaii Water has that oversight. So please don't take that away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, one more call. All right.
Hello, my name is Alan Fleisch. I live in Kapalua, and I am totally opposed to the rate increase request. I'm not going to repeat everything that was said before me, but I agree with it all. All I want to add is that my understanding is that the PUC's charge is to ensure that utilities are just and reasonable, that the charges that the consumer gets are just and reasonable. In that vein, allowing HWS to pass on whatever charges MLP wants to throw at them will not result in a just and reasonable charge. I request that you deny the rate increase before you until such time as HWS will pass along to customers, the rate they pass along to customers are determined to be just and reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flesh. As I noted earlier, this is also being held online. We have testifiers who have indicated they would like to testify. The first testifier online is Mr. Kenji Yui.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Aloha Commissioners, my name is Kenji Yui. I am General Manager at TY Management. Thank you for this opportunity to submit the testimony and giving oral testimony here. So TY Management owns 2 golf courses in Kapalua. One course was purchased in 2009 and the second in 2010. We are a direct customer of Hawaii Water Service for potable water. We are also a direct customer of Maui Land Pine for non-potable water. So we understand that Hawaii Water Service's current water rates were adopted in 2009 and are thus no longer appropriate given rising costs and capital improvements that Hawaii Water Service has invested into the Kapalua system. However, Hawaii Water Service's proposal to shift costs associated with the acquisition of water from MLP through a watershed purchase rider should not be approved by the Commission. Therefore, I am providing this testimony in opposition to the Hawaii Water Service rate increase application due to its inclusion of watershed purchase rider. Yeah, and I don't want to repeat what other testifiers told you, but let me reiterate that based on this proposal, 80% of potable water rate is comprised of this watershed purchase rider. And MLP is not regulated. Therefore, Hawaii Water Service can increase rate anytime, any amount in the future if the Commission approves this rate increase case. Any unreasonable rate increase will hurt business and people's daily life. As such, any rate increase should be reviewed carefully by the Commission. This is particularly important here because MLP is the only source of water for the Kapalua region. The customer will have no protection from rate increases, absent careful Commission review of any rates imposed by MLP through Hawaii Water Service. Therefore, I respectfully ask the Commission to deny the Hawaii Water Service request to include the watershed purchase rider and require Hawaii Water Service to seek Commission approval for any rate increase going forward. Although this will take more time and effort on the part of the Commission and Hawaii Water Service, this additional effort is critical due to MLP's status as an unregulated entity. We sincerely hope the Commission fulfills its critical role as a protector of consumers from unjust and unreasonable rates. Mahalo for your time and consideration.
Mahalo, Mr. Yui. We're still having some technical difficulties, so understanding is that we are opposing Hawaii Water Services requests. I do respectfully request if you're able to provide us with a summary of your oral testimony, if you can, only because some of it was very difficult to hear. But thank you for your time and testimony. Our next online testifier is Mr. Tom Jinks.
Aloha, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing us to testify tonight. My name is Tom Jinks. I'm a resident in the Kapalua Golf Villas, and I'm here to testify in opposition to this rate increase by Hawaii Water Service. Well, earlier I understand you asked us not to mention or be careful mentioning Maui Land and Pineapple in this discussion, but as you're aware, and you can see by all the testimony here by the folks online as well as in person, Maui Land and Pineapple's position in this is direct and can be dire if we were allowed to this watershed purchase rider to go through unchecked. Some of the other parts of the rate increase request are questionable as well, but without a doubt, the watershed purchase rider is very suspect and would be, like I said, would be dire to all the consumers in Kapalua. So I'm urging you to carefully take a look at this and deny that some of those portions of that request, especially the watershed purchase rider. I'm confident and hopeful that the PUC, with the interest of the public in mind, will deny that request. And I do thank you for your time tonight. Mahalo.
I cannot hear the chair.
Listen to everyone's testimony. Our final online testifier is Mr. Grunemeyer, who also provided written testimony.
Hello, Chair and Commissioners. Can you hear me? Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I support all the comments that have been made. I want to emphasize a few things. The conservation charge, while it's a noble effort, is a waste of money. I've looked at what was in their program, and most of us are doing it already, and it's charged to the irrigation people, but not the potable water people, so that's kind of weird. But my main point is the watershed rider, and I want to go back to 2021 when the purchase was made between MLP and the Hawaii Water Service. At that time, Maui Land and Pine, Hawaii Water Service, the consumer advocate, all thought that a reasonable and just rate for potable water was $2.59 per 1,000 gallons, and for non-potable water, 26 cents per 1,000 gallons. That's less than 5 years ago. And they also thought that a 3% annual escalation was valid.
I'm concerned now the new proposed rate is $2.30 per 1,000 gallons for non-potable water and $6.18 for potable water. The non-potable water would be up 885% in just 5 years, and the potable water up 239% in just 5 years. I'm just concerned that an organization like MLP, Hawaii Water Service, the Consumer Advocate, and even the PUC could all make such a huge mistake, and now we're letting them continue to operate. I don't understand how this is possible. No one has provided even a shred of evidence for that amount of an increase in just 5 years. I think that's the end of my testimony, unless there's any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Grunnemeyer. There are also many other written testimonies which have been provided to the PUC. And if you go to our website and the CDMS and look up this docket, you will be able to see and review all the written testimony. Before we adjourn, I want to thank everybody for your patience with respect to our technical difficulties. But again, be reminded that there is a deadline for intervenor status, which is February 12th. If any of you are interested in becoming a formal party to this proceeding. The Commission and the Division of Consumer Advocacy will continue with their review of Hawaii Water's application. Process will conclude with the Commission's issuance of its written decision and order. This concludes tonight's public hearing for docket number 2025-0220. Mahalo for your attendance and participation.